between science and religion has gone on for centuries, but in recent years it's stepped up a notch. With atheism on the rise and religion in retreat, is there common ground between them?
People are jumping up and down and they're speaking in tongues, and some of them are falling on the floor and that sort of thing. You're looking at this and you're going, this is crazy. These people are crazy.
In their early 30s, Danny and Tess Jarman were born again. They were married in a Pentecostal church near Brisbane, and belief became the cornerstone of their lives.
I prayed a lot. It was like 24/7 around the clock. I was always talking to God, and I would believe that God would be speaking to me.
Their children were baptised, and like other worshippers, they began to speak in tongues.
When you initially do it, it's very powerful. You might have 5 or 6 people around you going, speak, speak, speak. Eventually you just try it and you just do it. And people around you would think that, oh, you're speaking in tongues. They don't know what it is you're saying. You don't know what you're saying.
Through 15 years of daily prayer, Danny and Tess became leaders in their church.
I had this mission from God, I guess, to help others and to try and do the right thing by other people and society in general.
In the late 60s, almost 90% of Australians identified as Christian. By 2011, that had fallen to just 60%. At the same time, immigration saw rising numbers of Aussies practising other religions like Islam or Buddhism. But the biggest change has been in the number of people leaving religion altogether. By 2011, almost a quarter of us claimed no religion at all.
The first moment that really shook my world, my faith, was when I asked the question, what is changing through my prayer? I really had to look and go, not a lot. I just looked at Danny and I said, you know what? I don't believe this anymore.
When Tess said those words aloud, the floodgates opened.
For me, it was like something had died. I felt like someone had died. It was a real grief.
People that we had known, loved, had relationships with for many years, overnight, cut us off.
Danny and Tess have now swung the other way. Belief is still the cornerstone of their lives, but now they believe there is no God.
Things that religion used to claim certainty over, we know those things are false. We're leaving less and less room for God.
Atheism is now in something of a renaissance. High-profile scientists like Daniel Dennett and Richard Dawkins argue that the major unknowns of existence are all scientific questions.
There may be questions that science can't answer, like the origin of everything. But if science can't answer them, then religion certainly can't, and nothing else can either.
But Australia's former chief scientist, Professor Robin Batterham, says science will never explain away God. On Sundays, he can be found playing the organ at Scott's Church in central Melbourne.
It will never be able to explain everything. There's a principle that says as soon as you observe something, you change it. So science will never know and never be able to answer that question of, is there something more?
Professor Batterham doesn't take the Presbyterian scriptures literally, but in a world of complex grey areas, religion is his moral compass.
This is all part of tuning out and allowing yourself to think more deeply about you, about your family, about those that need. That's a fuller and a richer and a more worthwhile existence.
Tess says a life without God isn't lonely and empty. It's empowering.
I need to take this life that I have now, which is such a short life, and I can live it how I want to and not just leave it up to chance.
Personally, I wonder whether it has to be so black and white, whether you either have to be speaking in tongues or an atheist. I'm sure there's a lot of people who sit somewhere in the middle and they have their faith, it's their faith, they might go to church, they might not go to church, but, you know, they don't necessarily need proof, it is what they believe.
No one knows there isn't a God. They don't know it completely, do they?
But do you need to know either way to have your own faith?
But that's the thing, that we often confuse different things. Science is a system that we developed to understand everything. And it's how we know what to do when someone gets sick and goes to hospital, how this TV works right now that you're watching in your living room. That's what we use to figure stuff out. Religion is about faith. And the word faith literally means believing something you don't have evidence for. And it's a very different thing.
And sometimes it's actually nice for people to have hope in their faith. My mum became a born-again Christian when she was diagnosed with cancer. Unfortunately, she didn't survive that, but I know that it actually gave her some comfort in thinking that there was something more to it. So, you know, if it's not hurting people, you know, is it... You know, it's just not necessary to you know, hate one or the other, or not support one or the other. You know.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back shortly.